Okay, this is part 3. I apologize for video quality, which I should have done in the part 1, but whatever. Sorry. Video quality sucks ass. But, yeah, so, you know, she runs out of the room. I'm laying there going, what the fuck, you know? Another nurse comes in, she looks and she turns a little white, and she runs out of the room. And I'm like, are you serious? What the fuck? You know? Finally, my midwife gets paged. I guess she got pulled away from, I don't know what, fisting some other woman, ripping out her afterward. I didn't know that I was the only patient there, so I really had no clue. She comes in and she's like, ooh, you know, looking at everything, and I'm just laying there confused. I still couldn't feel anything. The epidural hadn't worn off yet, and I'm just like, what? And she's like, yeah, I gotta get you something to stop that bleeding. And she walks away. And I'm like, I thought I was supposed to be bleeding. What the fuck is going on? You know? And I was just like, alright, I need to know what's going on. And I lifted up the sheet and looked, and I'm like, I look like I got slaughtered. What do I... Oh, fuck. And I turned to look for Chuck. He wasn't there. And I'm like, oh my god, really? He left me? He left me to bleed to death? You know, I'm like, oh my god. You know, so I page the nurse. She comes in. She's like, doesn't even want to come close to me. She's like 4 feet away from my bed, and she's like, yes. And I'm like, where's my husband? And she's like, he had to go. Yeah, he had to go. I'm like, go where? She's like, I don't know. He'll be back. I'm like, you mean to tell me he went out for a cigarette? This is bullshit. I started going off. I was like, that bastard. I mean, I was like really angry at him. You know, later on I found out they kicked him out of the room. They told him to leave. So then, midwife comes back in. She's got a fucking needle behind her back. Okay? She pulls the sheet back again. She looks and she's like, yeah, I just don't like that bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like it either. And BAM! She hits me in the leg with the needle. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, I didn't feel it, but the impact. I felt like the, of that, because I have rather stocky thighs. And I just was like, what did you just do? She was like, I gave you something to stop the bleeding. I'm like, well, thank you very much for letting me know, but tell me before you do that shit. And she's like, oh, sorry, and walks out. And so I'm sitting there going, if I could get out of this fucking bed, because I was paralyzed from, the waist down because of the epidural. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm alone, and I'm getting really pissed. I'm like, okay, you kicked my husband out of the room because I'm bleeding too much. You haven't let me see my son yet. I don't even know what his face looks like, except like from ultrasounds, and that's all black and white and blurry. And you just jabbed me in the leg with a needle without informing me. We have a fucking problem here. I'm getting pissed. I'm getting absolutely just ready to just fucking clock the fucking midwife. She comes back in. Well, the nurses keep coming in. They're changing my sheets, weighing them. A couple of times they had to reach in and pull out clots that were about the size of baseballs. Because I saw one and was like, oh my god, really? I'm giving birth to, yeah, ugh. And I'm getting really angry. And midwife comes back in sometime later, I don't fucking know when, and she's like, yeah, your bleeding still hasn't slowed. And I'm like, Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to clot as best as I can. I'm thinking all kinds of clotty thoughts, you know? And she's just like, yeah, gotta give you something for that. So she gives me a pill. I don't know what the fuck it was. She wouldn't tell me. I swallowed it. You know, because I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm just going to roll with this because I don't know what else to do. They're not telling me anything, and I'm getting scared, and I'm getting pissed. She leaves. Nurses come back in. I had nurses, 6 nurses around my bed, three at all times. Like they were coming in, like in, you know, taking turns or whatever. You know, removing clots, weighing sheets, not even really talking to me. It was all very just, I was being treated like it was a standard procedure. Like, let's just stabilize her and throw her out. You know, and, you know, I'm laying there just, you know, couldn't really move my legs, couldn't really move my arms because I was starting to get IVs put in of different things. The Pitocin was disconnected, and that was replaced with saline for a little bit. And, you know, I was starting to feel really sleepy and really out of it. And, you know, I was like, I don't know if I can keep fighting. I'm so mad. And I'll never be able to see my son's face. I won't know what he looks like. I won't be there to watch him grow up. I don't know. I went through all the stages of grief. Like, really fast. I went from, you know, oh my god, my baby, I haven't seen him yet, to, you know, to, okay, well, if this is what it has to be, you know, like really close, like this close to just going, you know, okay, fine, I'll just slip quietly away. They obviously don't care whether I live or die, and I want to live, but maybe this is the end, you know. And I pulled a nurse off to the side, and I said, I need you to do me a favor. And she's like, what? And I was like, you need to go find my husband. Take our son to him. Put our son in my husband's arms. Give my son a kiss on the forehead. Look my husband in the face, in his eyes, and look my son in his eyes. I said, you have to do this exactly. She's like, okay. You need to tell both of them that I love them, that I'll always be there for them, no matter fucking what. And you need to touch my son's cheek and make sure he looks at you. And she's like, he's a baby. I was like, he will look at you. I know my son. Tell him his mommy loves him and will always be there. She's like, I'm not going to do that. I was like, you're what? She's like, no, I'm not going to do that because you're fine. You're not going anywhere. I was like, what? Fuck you, lady. Yes, I am. I was like, I'm bleeding to death. You guys haven't figured out how to stop the bleeding. And I'm okay with that. You guys want me to die? Maybe that's what's in the plan. I don't know. I was like, my higher power doesn't really communicate with me that much. I said, and I don't want to leave my son the way my mother left me, but maybe that's what it's got to be. And she's like, oh, whatever, and she walked away. Total bitch. I would love to meet all those nurses, line them up with the midwife at the end of the line, and just go and slap them all, and then punch the midwife right in the face. And while her fucking nose is like bleeding and broken, they're like, "Oh, you're hemorrhaging. Here, let me give you a shot," and punch her in the fucking thigh. Because she did it twice. The second time she did it, the epidural was starting to wear off, and I actually felt it. She came in, and she didn't have the needle behind her back this time. She had it up. I guess that was her way of telling me what was going on. And she's like, "Yeah, I just don't like that bleeding." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really don't like it either. I would like for it to stop." And she's like, "Okay, good." Bam, hits me in the leg, and I'm like, "You fucking cunt," and I went off on her. You know, and I don't usually like calling people by such foul language, but that woman fucking deserved it. You know, she just did not give a flying rat's ass about me. They were, and I found out later that they were constantly trying to reach the OB on call, and she kept saying, "No, you guys do whatever you gotta do to stabilize her, and I'll see her in the morning." She refused to come in. And, when she finally came in, it was right around 8:30 or so, and right now it's 7:46. So 7:46 or so, it's probably when my bleeding finally started slowing down. And you know, once they said something like, "Oh, the volume is dropping," because they were measuring everything. I guess they have to measure, how much they're killing somebody. I don't know. Sadistic fucking bastards. And, wow, I'm out of focus like crazy. What the hell? Ew. Okay. Part something coming up.